surprise pod. I'm not going to say emergency because it'll come up the day after, but a surprise pod in between our normally regularly scheduled programming with news of Rashan Gary's extension being signed. So we are going to talk about something happy for the first time in a few weeks. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this pod along with some trade deadline preview before the deadline today as you're listening to this. And joining me to talk about all that is my lovely co-host Jordan Chesky. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
Hello, I'm putting pen to paper. Pen to paper.
We love seeing pen hit paper around 1265 Lombardi Avenue. Yeah, that's just the news. Rashan Gary signs his extension, 4 years, $107 million. If all of his what are they called? Why am I blanking? Jordan,
Bonuses,
thank you.
incentives.
Incentives, bonus, if they are all hit, total of $107 million, which includes a $34.5 million signing bonus that will be split amongst the duration of his contract over the next 4 years. He was currently playing on his fifth year, I think, rookie option, the $10 million option that the Packers picked up, not this past May, but the May before. And that $107 million mark will slot him in as the eighth highest paid edge rusher in the league, behind Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Myles Garrett, Von Miller, TJ Watt, and Bradley Chubb, just ahead of Max Crosby and Harold Landry. So for a guy that has had 63 total games coming off an ACL injury, 4.5 sacks this year, and 27 total in his career, I think is a pretty good piece to sign to his extension. At obviously young, obviously going to be a leader for quite some time. But Jordan, what were your thoughts when you saw this come across your timeline this morning?
I was on my way to work. It was a good way to go into work, knowing that Rashan Gary, a long awaited move from Packers Twitter, um, finally happened. And considering the price, considering the productivity that we've seen this year on 39% of the team's defensive snaps, it's worth it. Like, I think I was thinking about it today, and I have really, now that we're thinking big picture, I've thought about like building blocks. We've talked about a lot of building blocks, and I think on offense, I've been very critical of like, well, are there any?
Right.
On defense, it's a different like conversation entirely because there are more veterans, there are less players that we think of as the rookie scale contract guys that like we just want to see pop the development. Sean Gary has undoubtedly been a bright spot for the Packers this year. The fact that he's coming off his ACL tears, he signs this not even a year to the day that he tore his ACL in Detroit last year, which is pretty stunning. But I think from what we have seen, the flashes, the athleticism, the raw power that he has always had, it's all there and it's steadily ramping up. We've had a lot of problems with how they have gone about treating guys coming off of significant injuries, and we will air more of them out because I'm sure more of those will happen. But when it comes to Rashan Gary, how they've managed his recovery and his return has been probably for the best. Clearly, he has been getting back to what we saw right before he got hurt. And again, as we're looking for those bright spots, those players that we can say, hey, this guy is going to be on the Green Bay Packers for the years to come. And regardless of what the team looks like in the years to come, we can say, hey, maybe this guy has a shot to be on the team for the next 5 years. Well, doing this move obviously commits him to that on its face. And again, it's a no-brainer. He's been one of their most talented players, backed it up with his stats. It just makes sense for the Packers to do this. You got to keep the talent that you have, especially when you're going to be in talent acquisition mode very soon here.
Right, absolutely. I think you said it perfectly. The building block of this defense is going to be guys like Rashan Gary moving forward, and to lock up a guy that has been truly, I guess, a leader coming off of what he was before his ACL injury last year, and now leading this edge rushing defense in this pass rush this year, really kind of being the only, I don't know if I can say the only bright spot, but one of the few bright spots on that line, getting home and getting sacks this year. So I think locking him up makes a whole lot of sense, frankly. He's been consistently up there in pass rush win rate all year long. Even when he started, I think it did he play week 1 against the Bears? I think he did, correct? He was just playing like third downs.
He did. He only played like third downs. And I think it basically went to like 10 or 12 snaps.
Right, exactly. And so, but even with that, he was consistently getting home and having an impact early on this season. He's currently 4th in the NFL at win rate at 32.4%, which is pretty crazy. Only a few guys, Travis Gibson of the Titans, Yazir Abdullah from the Jaguars, and Ernest Brown IV, strong name alert, from either LA team. It just says LA, so we'll go with that as we will. Either the Rams or the Chargers. It's the Rams. So, but yeah, being 4th in the NFL at pass rush win rate, like you said, less than a year off of an ACL injury is really good stats. Really good stats. I think one of the better contracts we've seen signed, and I should say better, but I think I saw someone reported that the contract itself isn't over, I think 20 or 30 million going into 2028 when it expires, or like throughout the
like how it's structured.
Yeah, there's not like a huge riser in the cap hit any year. It's just consistent throughout, which is good considering they're going to need cap down the line for either a QB or Jordan Love, depending on how Love continues to develop. So I think, honestly, a good signing by Brian Gutekunst, and glad he got it done with one of the guys. I think one of the first guys he drafted, if I'm not mistaken. He was drafted in 2019.
Yep.
Yeah, 12th overall. So I'm pretty sure that was one of his first drafts. If not the first, the second.
Yeah, definitely the second. And to your point, we will get into the as we focus on the draft and stuff like that, of like Goody's experience and hits and misses and all that stuff. Rashan Gary is on his way towards being the best draft pick that he's made. Jair obviously probably holds that top spot, but a guy like Rashan Gary, given the ascension, the development, and everything that we've seen start to come together, especially in this phase 2 post injury. Again, that's all about just keeping and controllable talent. If you're looking at it from a pure asset management,
right? And I think the biggest thing is that last year he was on his way to probably getting a decent amount of Defensive Player of the Year votes. Over his 4.5 years now, not games played, just service time, he had 2 sacks his rookie year, 5 his sophomore year, and then last year before he got injured, he had 9.5 sacks in. My apologies. 9.5 sacks his third year, and then through 9 games, he had 6 sacks. So he was well on his way to surpassing that record mark of 9.5. This year, through 3 games started and 7 games total played, he's at 4.5. So probably, we'll play the rest of the 10 games this season, and I don't see a reason why he couldn't get to 10 if he continues to develop and continues to recover from that knee injury and only gets better. Like, I think if he continues to develop and is really showcasing his talent and develops like we hope he should be, I think next year could be a really special year for Rashan Gary.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Maybe if they get a new defensive coordinator in there too. Sorry, I had to pepper in some some optimism about.
You got buried.
So yeah, I think all in all, big win for the Packers. I know there were some rumblings about him being traded. Not rumblings, I guess fan rumblings about him being traded, just to see where the team could go and what they could get for him. Kind of looking at like the Khalil Mack trade and the Yannick Ngakwe trade of years past when bad teams just get rid of their star edge rushers because they know they're going to be bad for the next couple of years. But ultimately, I think for a guy that's 25, turns 26 early December, I think it's just such an easy no-brainer to keep a guy that is on the rise for sure and is also plays a position that is so critical to winning.
It's a premium. Highest paid player on the Packers right now, too.
Yeah, I'm sure that, well, once the contract starts, like, right, right,
Yeah.
yeah, but overtakes Jair was what I imagine that number would have been.
Bach.
Bach, yeah, and then I gotta imagine Jair's up there somewhere. That contract was pretty big.
Yeah.
So, anything else on Rashan Gary, Jordan, or should we continue to celebrate our one happy highlight we've had the last few weeks?
Um, no, I think that's it. I'm very pleased with this. It was a nice, nice, not a consolation because it's anything but it's just nice that this gets done amidst this slide continuing for the Packers because questions just naturally will arise the longer this kind of thing would have gone on.
Right, absolutely. And I think I've definitely been on the record saying they just got to pay the man. Like the
Yeah.
longer they waited to pay him, the more expensive it was going to get. And
Hmm.
so, all in all, I think it's a good deal. I think it's a modest deal for both sides. Um, and yeah, I'm just happy it happened.
Yeah.